Instead of paper money, the Yap people in Micronesia use big stones called rai to represent money in their local economy. These big stones can be as long as 4 meters, which is over 13 feet. But these stones don't even come from their own island. They had to mine these stones on a different island called Palau. The Japanese would canoe to Palau, find the stones, and then haul back. The more dangerous and time-intensive it took to get these stones to Yap Island, the more valuable these stones were considered. The Yap people would then exchange their stones back and forth like we do with paper money, but because the stones were so heavy, they would just orally agree instead of moving it to their backyard or something. Money can be based on essentially anything. German soldiers used cigarettes as money during World War II because cigarettes didn't spoil and could be saved. Cigarettes could be easily traded, and cigarettes were an easy way to measure unit of account. Goods at camp during war was priced in cigarettes. For example, 80 cigarettes could buy a shirt, and 2 cigarettes could get your shirt laundered.
But it'll cost you. Phone's $100.
$100? That's no problem.
I got no use for cash. I want 100 soups.
Soups?
Yeah, ramen. They're like a major currency in here.
Really? That is very surprising.
You can't smoke anymore, so ramen has replaced cigarettes. NPR did a big thing on it.
Again, money can be based on anything. Big stones, cigarettes, ramen, and also potentially life-saving drug patents, the Amazon rainforests, and endangered animals. But what's the difference between money and currency? Well, currency is always money, but money is not always currency. Currency is a physical form of money in circulation. Currency is just a small part in the overall money supply, since so much money exists only in electronic form. For example, if you wanted to send money to someone in a different country, then both of you would need to square up on what type of currency to use. For example, if I in the US wanted to send someone money in India, I would probably have to send it in US dollars, and their bank would probably need to convert it into Indian rupees. Rupees and dollars are 2 different currencies, but they both represent the same amount of money. Before the Depression, the UK was the world reserve currency. But this changed after the UK nearly bankrupted itself after fighting both World War I and World War II. In 1944, the Bretton system was put in place. This basically tied the American dollar to everything, and then tied the American dollar to gold. So all currencies in the world are backed by something. For instance, the US dollar was backed by gold up until 1933. This meant that if you had a dollar bill in your hand, there'd be $1's worth of gold in a vault somewhere that the bill is representing. Nowadays, the US dollar is literally backed by faith and trust in the US government. What's crazy is the US dollar is the world's reserve currency, meaning that other currencies like the Indian rupee is backed by the US dollar, which again means that other countries are relying on the US economy and government. For the US and its allies, it's great. Generally, everyone is rooting for us to be successful. But that also means that everyone is forced to value and to bet on American greed and American capitalism, otherwise their currency will experience much more instability. This is really sad. At this moment, politics has a heavy influence on currency reserves. For example, Russian banks are seeing a sharp increase in the Chinese yuan in their clients' accounts. This is because the US is imposing severe financial sanctions on Russia for their war on Ukraine, including limiting access to the US dollar. But since China has not participated in wartime sanctions, access to the yuan remains open, making a potential currency alternative. The idea of having a currency that can't be manipulated by governments sounds nice. And there are currencies that are pulling away from American dollar dominance and choosing to value ecological preservation instead of greed. It's actually already technically possible to have cancer research, medical patents, and education as the basis of money and currency. And it's through crypto technology. Crypto technology makes it possible for someone to create a currency based on something that actually matters. It is hard to make this happen.
It's so hard with the squad. We like gods.
It's super hard for people to start using a new currency. People likely prefer to just donate with US dollars to their favorite causes instead of adopting a whole new currency to use.
You had promised to donate the $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity.
This portion of the video is sponsored by Cello, who have one of their cryptocurrencies backed in part by protected rainforests instead of American dollars. Rainforests are key in the fight against climate change, and it will be essential for organizations and governments to do everything in their power to protect them. As the demand for cello stablecoin currency increases, it enables the protection of greater amounts of rainforests. In this monetary system, any economic growth, any increase in money in circulation would lead to a preservation and regeneration of natural resources. Over the next 4 years, the goal is for 40% of the cello reserve to transition to a tokenized rainforest and other carbon sequestering assets, which based on today's numbers results in $340 million worth of newly planted rainforests, representing roughly 135 million large rainforest trees. Cryptocurrencies are already considered money in some groups. Cryptocurrencies have more freedom and not as many regulations as government-backed money.
Your money turns into a digital currency, untaxed, unregulated, and untraceable.
Cryptocurrency can replace traditional currency in small interest groups, just like how cigarettes replaced money in wartime camps and how ramen replaced money in prisons. But my take is that there are a few more decades to come before crypto replaces government currencies.
We can turn this into something very real that has the power to change the world.
So our next video is going to be about government money and why governments make their own money, and a little bit about the history of banks. If you like this episode of Crypto History, make sure to like and subscribe. Tell me your favorite part of this video and I can make the next video better based on your feedback. At the time of this video, we've entered a recession. It's always a good idea to learn a little bit about what has happened in the past, better understand what is going on today.